Welcome to the world, Kip. Maya is consumed by unconditional love. She is lost in her infant.
Nice to chat with you today.
Hi, nice to meet you.
What do you think are the biggest misconceptions in terms of these monkeys that maybe people starting to go in to see this movie aren't going to know when they first see them?
Oh, I think there's a lot of misconceptions. I think they're going to be blown away just seeing how closely they react and they are related to humans. But one of the biggest misconceptions is probably that they swim. A lot of people don't think monkeys swim.
That scene in the movie is actually quite, it's really quite beautiful because you don't really ever see footage of monkeys swim especially, but...
No, and it's interesting that they've evolved obviously to swim primarily because they have a food source there in the water.
Yes.
But that last scene in the movie where they just are swimming just for the joy of it, it's amazing.
The other thing that I think struck me is amazing, and that, a lot of people maybe suspect, but the whole social structure, I think a lot of people understand it a little, but to the extent that we see it in the movie, is that something that, you talk to people a lot about? Do you find there's questions about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't understand the dynamics of any animal living in the wild, but especially a social monkey like the Tüc macaque. So it's all about... They all live in one troop, so it's protecting each other and protecting each other's back, passing on their genetic lineage. So the dominant animals get the pick of the fruits so that they can be strong and reproduce. And in the beginning, Maya, the female, she's at the lower rung, and typically their offspring stay within that level that they're born into. But, there's a scene where all of a sudden, she's on the ground, she doesn't get the nice fruit on, but she still gets enough food, but she's almost like an alarm system for the rest of the troop, so if a predator comes by, she can warn them. And Grandpa, I love Grandpa actually, and that's the only reason he's able to still be kicking and surviving is because of that social troop system.
Right. And how do they normally, we don't see a lot of it, but how do they normally treat, someone like Grandpa in the film?
Well, obviously they treat him very well because he's still kicking, and
right.
So again, it's protection in numbers, and they protect the territory where it's got the food and the water that they require to survive. So it's all just kind of working together, and it's just keeping the peace, so to speak.
Right. And the other thing that I really loved was seeing, the role of the elder, or the alpha male, I guess, and the elder females. That, I didn't know that the elder females would have that kind of, or the females would have that kind of role. Can you talk a little bit about what that role is? Like, what's going on there?
Again, it's keeping the peace. It's the more dominant animal, the male, he's strong and fit until a young juvenile comes in and kind of knocks him off his top of the line, so to speak. But again, it's really interesting how, because the human monkey interaction or conflict, so to speak, because the habitat loss and them encroaching, and then the monkeys having to encroach
right.
Into humans to get food. It's really incredible that dynamic in its own was able to change the hierarchy of that troop.
And how much is that happening in their environment? Like, is it as prevalent as we see in North America, where there's constant erosion of the forests, or what's going on?
So the Tüc macaque is actually listed as endangered, which is very unfortunate, and primarily because of habitat loss, persecution, and the ever-growing human population. So a lot of endangered species around the world, it's coming up with that balance to coexist. And the Tüc macaques, unfortunately, can be persecuted in Sri Lanka, primarily because they raid crops, which directly affects the livelihood of the people living there. So it's this balance that we really need to come up with.
Interesting. I mean, they look beautiful on screen at least. I mean, do you think that this film can help raise awareness to help them?
The thing that I love about Disney Nature and this movie, along with all the other movies they've done, is the education component. A lot of people won't realize how amazing and dynamic these monkeys are.
Right.
And it goes beyond that, and they affect you, the individuals, and affect you in the heart. And that's what really is going to make people want to make change and do what they feel they can do to save species around the world.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
You're
Nice
welcome.
chatting with you.
Thank you.